New Yorkers right now are furious, especially the guys in New York City. So recently there was a survey that came out and just asking New Yorkers how they feel about government services and how they feel about the city overall. The mayor's 7 rounds of budget cuts, elimination of tens of thousands of city jobs, and ineffective management of city agencies are really making New York City life down in the dumps. Guys, you can't make this up when 546,000 people have left New York City in the past 3 to 4 years. The amount of money that came out from hedge funds and banks number 102 trillion, many flowing to Miami, which is Wall Street South. New York City is basically now down in the gutter. Can they recover? I don't really know. They have almost 200,000 migrants here, and nobody wants to take the migrants off their hands, and they're basically burning cash right now. And look at this. You got a lot of people in New York City now upset because many domestic homeless vets in New York, many domestic homeless citizens of the US, they don't get anything. In fact, if you look at the EBT and SNAP benefits, a lot of poor Americans get $7 to $9 within that area. But migrants get like 13, 14 bucks, which is a lot more. So now there's like this big talk about fairness. You also have this guy right here. Highly recommend you guys to check out some of these interviews. It's super interesting. You got somebody which is upset for not receiving the same benefits as migrants. They give migrants checks and credit cards, prepaid debit cards, and he has to stand out here begging for money. Think about that. A citizen, all he has is Social Security. He can't live on that. Have you seen Times Square? It looks like a third world country, which is true. In fact, if you go to AOC's district in Queens, you just have people throwing random stuff on the streets and just trying to sell it. It really does look like a third world country. I'm all down for capitalism, but there needs to be some regulation. New York City now is crumbling, especially places like Times Square, which is very tourist heavy. In fact, you could always see some sort of major crime happening, shootouts and fights happening in Times Square every single week, every few weeks. It's constant. In New York City, people are just sick and tired of this place. And no wonder. Almost 8% of the total population has left the city in the past few years. And so many companies have relocated their headquarters. Now, New York City right now is preserving the right to shelter policy. This is a double-edged sword because one, okay, it evicts the migrants and now you can have somewhat of an increase of domestic homeless population. Before the pandemic, New York City actually has a very, very good system for homeless people. They actually have enough shelters to house 99% of the homeless population. Now with the migrants coming in and hundreds of hotels already being turned to migrant shelters, people are starting to notice, hold on a second, our domestic homeless population is out on the streets. Our homeless vets are in the cold. Migrants get hotels like the Roosevelt Hotel about the domestic homeless population. So Mayor Eric Adams is starting to see sagging poll numbers, and now he's reversing this. But the bad thing about this is now a bunch of migrants are going to be homeless within 30 days. And these migrants are going to be sleeping on the streets, sleeping in tents, because many of these migrants cannot work. There, frankly, one, isn't enough jobs for these migrants, and two, getting a job permit is super hard in New York City. And that sucks for everyone. New York City is basically burning cash every single day. They're basically spending almost $400 per migrant. Eric Adams tries to reduce the costs by trying to get some of the migrants to other counties in upstate New York, try to fly them out with free plane tickets to other cities, giving out free bus tickets, trying to get them out. New York knows that if they still have 200,000 migrants, they're going to collapse. In fact, Eric Adams is so serious about reversing the migrant situation that he's even suing the buses who's chartering migrants from Texas to New York City. Now those buses aren't doing that anymore. Adams is right now doing damage control. He knows that money is drying up, people are fed up, the population of New York City is declining, and businesses are leaving. New York City, you also have people protesting. It's not about the migrant crisis, but also it's mostly from like the pizza guys. New York has a fantastic and very famous pizza scene, and many pizza owners actually started throwing slices of pizza at New York City Hall. The dude got arrested, but I think he's a pizza owner, and basically protests a new ban on coal and wood fire ovens in the city. New York City is already messing for small businesses, and no wonder so many of these small business owners, so many of the big corporations, and many just average people are leaving New York City. They're just messing around with a lot of these pizzerias. I think what New York really needs to focus on is the migrant crisis, because the quality of life is going down. There's budget cuts everywhere. Migrants asleep on the streets. There's a talk about fairness, people not getting enough money. New York City, it's crumbling, and they really need to address the issue.